Midnight on Earth podcast with your host, Jake Weaver. Engineered by Cedric Swan. Hey everybody, we are back with another episode of Midnight on Earth. I'm your host, Jake Weaver, and we're here to bring you more knowledge, more light, and more love. And we are back with another Beyond the News episode. Yes! Beyond the News. Well, yes, because we're hanging out and it's just us, but when you see the news, because this planet, people, let me tell you, there's so much going on that's just like, wow, and then, whoa, and then, you make these sounds. It's just like, what is happening here? This is what we look at. This is what we cover on these Beyond the News episodes. And with me, when I do these Beyond the News episodes, mostly, and for the lecture episodes, and our incredible sponsor is here. As the guest co-host, Brynn Anderson of Vital Force Herbs is here to guest co-host with me for this wonderful Beyond the News episode. Hello, Brynn.
Hi, Jake. Hi, everybody. How are you?
I'm doing great. Glad to have you back as we look at these strange, really weird stories that show themselves on Earth's news feed. This is what we do every 7 episodes. But before we talk about this more, I need you to do something for me. If you have not done this already, follow me on Instagram at midnight_on_earth. That is the address. You can follow me there. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you go to get your podcast, click that button that connects us so you know exactly what's going on. And tell a friend, tell someone that you know that loves these types of podcasts, that wants to know what's going on Earth every month or so. Bring them here, midnightonearth.com. And like I said at the beginning, our sponsor is Vital Force Herbs, the incredible company headed by Brynn Anderson. She's been a great force on Midnight on Earth as a continual guest co-host, and her company is amazing. She makes herbal blends that are designed to address various wellness situations that you might find yourself in. Grounded calm, deepest dreams, immune support, radiant heart. There's so many things that these blends can help you with. And she uses a proprietary crystal infusion process, which I believe seems to, from my perspective, activate something extra in the medicine, that activates something with this collaboration of plant spirits working together in these blends. If you go there to her website, vitalforceherbs.com, check out what she has there and realize that because you are a listener, even just right now, this could be your first time, 30% off, free shipping, any order with the discount code MIDNIGHT, MIDNIGHT. You put that in the discount code box at checkout and you get that magnificent deduction, 30% off. It's a steal. It's a screaming deal, like unbelievable deal because of the level of quality. All organic, either grown or wildcrafted locally, sourced locally. There's really nothing else like this in the health and wellness market. I don't know what words you would put there, but that's what we're finding. So check it out, vitalforceherbs.com, put the discount code in, and let me know how you feel about it. I know you're going to love it, but tell me your thoughts. Email me. Send me a message on Instagram. Let me know what you think. And Brynn, thank you so much again for being a sponsor. You've been an amazing help as we continually grow this show around the world.
Absolutely, Jake. I love being here and supporting the show. Thanks for helping me get my medicine out to the world. It's herb growing season right now, so I'm super busy getting everything started for this season, which is awesome. Thanks for having me here.
Yes, and of course the other episodes as well. And you've always been here now going on year 5.
Wow.
I know you were one of the first 10 guests.
That's
actually,
right. I remember that.
As an herbalist, a master herbalist, I would say. So
those are your words.
Exactly. So here we go into our Beyond the News episode for this week. And people, we're going to learn some things. Some of it's going to be really strange. Some of it's going to be like, whoa, like I was making those sounds earlier. We're just going to go through this. You need to know this stuff. You need to know this information because it's actually happening. Our sources are mainstream sources. And whether you feel like that has validity or not, that's an individual perspective. But ultimately, these are coming from verifiable sources. And we aggregate this information. So it's real. It's there. And this is what's happening on Earth. Look, this isn't going to be on page 1 of your favorite website or page 1 of the printed news, but it is in the stream of consciousness, the stream of information. This is why we do these episodes, to find this for you. And it's important, even though, like I said, buckle up, people. That's all I can really say. Buckle up. You know, we do have a rhythm. It's going to be a wild rhythm. So buckle up for this week. Brynn, are you ready for Beyond the News?
Ready and buckled.
Yes. April 2025. Can you believe that?
Not really.
You know, it was 5 years ago that the whole COVID thing started really taking off.
Yeah, that's right. That was 5 years ago with like school shutting down and everything. That's interesting to think about.
Pretty mind-blowing. And here we are in this new dimension. What happened? Where are we? Are we even on the same Earth? I'm not sure, but this Earth has some news and we're going to talk about it now. So this first article is from azfamily.com. And here's the headline. Mysterious monolith appears at site of popular desert art installation. And here's the article. A monolith. That's right, people. The monoliths are back. Do you remember the silver kind of obelisk-y looking things? Cubical, rectangle. They were all over the world, 2021, 2022. Now it's 2025, like we were saying, and the monolith is back. And here's the article. A monolith has been spotted near Las Vegas about 8 months after another one was seen in the area. A monolith appeared Friday morning at the site of the Seven Magic Mountains, a public art installation in Ivanpah Valley, about 10 miles south of Las Vegas. The Nevada Museum of Art, which co-produced the installation, said the monolith was installed overnight without permission. They said they do not know who installed it and are working to get it removed. The monolith appears to be around 12 feet tall and has a QR code along one side. What? That is believed to be involved with a cryptocurrency website. Okay, look, people. This is a bunk monolith. Come on, QR code. Monoliths have been spotted throughout the U.S. and the world for several years. In 2020, a monolith was discovered in the Utah desert. No QR code. Another was found at the pinnacle of a trail in California. And a third was found near Albuquerque, New Mexico. One was found in Romania and at a Turkish World Heritage Site, although that one was discovered to be a scam. This is a scam too. Well, we're starting out with the scam article. Scamolith was found in Las Vegas. We'll just call it the Scamolith with a QR code. Nice try, guys. I don't want your shitcoin, as the cryptocurrency community would say. Let's go into interestingenneering.com. Headline: new nanoscale brain sensor exhibits 96.4% accuracy in identifying neural signals. This is really huge because now we're going to be able to have that Neuralink. This is what this is building towards, interpreting brain signals, sending them through perhaps Wi-Fi. The future, people. Here is the article. Researchers from Georgia Institute of Technology have developed a microscopic brain sensor which is so tiny that it can be placed in the small gap between your hair follicles on the scalp, slightly under the skin. The sensor is discreet enough not to be noticed and minuscule enough to be worn comfortably all day. Really?
You want your sensors to be comfortable.
Perhaps they're using them for like hats or something. This is going to get weird. Brain sensors offer high fidelity signals, allowing your brain to communicate directly with devices like computers, augmented reality glasses, or robotic limbs. This is part of what's known as a brain-computer interface. To date, brain signals are typically captured non-invasively with electrodes mounted on the surface of the human scalp using conductive electrode gel for optimum impedance and data quality. However, these electrodes are generally uncomfortable to wear, especially when moving around. While more invasive signal capture methods such as brain implants are possible, research by Georgia Tech sought to create sensors that are easily placed and reliably manufactured. The sensor developed by Georgia Tech uses extremely small microneedles, which are imperceptible to the user. These sensors are also wireless and flexible, removing the need for conductive gel to work. This combination of factors lets the sensor stay in place all day, even if the wearer walks, runs, or performs other daily tasks. Because of this, the sensor can get closer to brain signals and collect cleaner, more accurate data. When tested, the new sensor successfully recorded and classified neural signals indicating the objects the user focused on in the environment with 96.4% accuracy. Wearers could also browse through phone logs and accept augmented reality video calls completely hands-free because the sensor was picking up visual stimuli. Wow. According to the researchers, the new sensor could have critical applications in the real world, most notably in healthcare. It could, for example, help people with disabilities control prosthetics or communicate. It may even be used in the field of consumer tech, such as smart glasses, hands-free phones, and computer control. Other applications include the AR and virtual reality market, which would make for a more immersive, hands-free, intuitive user experience. The sensors could also be handy for rehabilitation, for example, stroke or injury recovery through neural feedback. So there you go, people. This is one more step into this integration of humanity and technology, this convergence. It has so many positive applications. It can help people physically disabled. Let's keep it in the light and love and light realm with this technology, okay?
I'd like wireless technology to become safer before putting it on one's head, though.
It's coming. Li-Fi. Li-Fi is coming. Li-Fi, it's literally light. It is not even electromagnetic waves. We've talked about it way in the past.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it, but yeah.
That's coming. So it is coming. It's all coming because it's already there. It was already created. And speaking of incredible technology, here is Newsweek.com. Headline: White House says it has tech that can manipulate time and space. Yeah, great. Is that why the Mandela effect is happening, people? Okay, here is the article. A comment by White House science advisor Michael Kratsios has gone viral after a speech in which he claimed U.S. technology can, quote, manipulate time and space, prompting online speculation. Why it matters. The viral interpretation of his comment reflects the growing impact of social media in framing public understanding of government messaging. While the White House has not issued a formal clarification, the speech's wording suggests the phrase was metaphorical, intended to refer to the transformative nature of modern innovation, not literal manipulation of space-time or the invention of time travel. Okay. That's your opinion, bro. Newsweek, bro. Kratsios, director of the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy, made the remark during a policy address at the Endless Frontiers Retreat in Austin, Texas on April 14th. Quote, our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space. They leave distance annihilated, cause things to grow and improve productivity, Kratsios said during prepared remarks published on the official White House website. While the statement was likely intended as aspirational language about technological progress, it has since circulated widely online. Okay, so was that a slip, people? Is it real? Is that planting a seed in the collective American consciousness that we have this incredible technology coming? Okay, so this next one, now I do always say that we have mainstream sources for our articles. This one is more of a homegrown website, but it does have links to several sources, which I verified, and no one else is reporting on this. So I have to utilize this source. So this is from citizenwatchreport.com. Headline, U.S. finds 2 largest lithium deposits on Earth. McDermott caldera could power 300 years of domestic battery needs. And here's the article. The United States has just hit the lithium jackpot twice. Not one, but 2 of the largest lithium deposits in the world have been found within its borders. This isn't just a geological windfall, it's a geopolitical shift, and the timing could not be more strategic. Tucked between Oregon and Nevada, the McDermott caldera is now recognized as the largest known lithium deposit on Earth. The numbers are staggering. Up to 40 million metric tons of lithium lie beneath its volcanic soil. At current demand levels, this single deposit could power the nation's lithium needs for over 3 centuries. That kind of supply is not just about batteries, it is about leverage. For the first time in modern history, the United States may hold the cards in a mineral market long dominated by rivals. The discovery's implications are global. China currently refines the vast majority of the world's lithium and controls much of its supply. With the McDermott caldera now on the map, that dominance is at risk. A $1.5 trillion resource hidden in plain sight is finally within reach. But the U.S. did not stop there. In the southern states, more lithium has been found. In fact, what could be the second largest deposit on the planet is emerging from the ground in 2 regions, the Salton Sea in California and the Smackover Formation in Arkansas. The Salton Sea has 18 million metric tons of lithium waiting to be drawn up, which could power batteries for over 375 million electric vehicles. Wow. Alongside lithium, these regions are also showing deposits of cobalt, manganese, graphite, and nickel. All of them are essential to the energy future. All of them are found in areas the U.S. controls. Wow. Wow. This is incredible. I mean, we have more oil than anyone else in the world. We have more lithium than anyone else in the world right now. This is incredible if you're trying to keep your energy needs and your energy production domestic, all aspects of it. Whoa, this is a far cry from when I was a child growing up, learning in American public schools that we didn't really have these type of resources. We had other resources. Brynn, what do you think about this?
I think it's pretty wild. I mean, I think that those minerals are probably all over the world in places that we haven't even yet encountered or suspected or whatever. I mean, my concern is just with the mining of them and what happens with all of that.
Right.
I mean, obviously, I think that if you live in the United States, it's helpful for your resources to come from the United States. I think that's great. So it's just about, what does that mean? I didn't know living in Oregon though about, I think I know where they're talking about that corner of Oregon, and Nevada is a pretty sparsely populated desert, super dry kind of area that I don't think I've ever even heard of anyone saying like, yeah, I went there for a trip, or I went there camping, or I drove through there. Like, it's pretty far out and away. So that's interesting information.
Yes, I did not know either that there was so much lithium close to me. I mean, I'm here with you in Portland, Oregon. We're in Portland, Oregon. I didn't realize that. And like Brynn was saying, yes, there's probably pockets of these minerals all over the world yet to be discovered. But coincidentally, we just keep finding them here in America. All these things that we used to import. It's really interesting. And it's going to affect the electric car market in a very big way. It's going to bring costs down. It's going to make production a lot more streamlined. And like Brynn was saying, the mining, that aspect, the environmental aspect, we're going to have to look at that. But I'll just say right now, if it happens in America, it's going to be far more ethical than using child slave labor in certain countries in Africa and other places. So there is that.
Agreed. There's definitely more regulation that would go into it.
Okay. Well, speaking of new things that they're finding or have found, another pyramid has been discovered. I think I knew about this one already. Let's just take a look at this. This is from dailymail.co.uk. Headline: Mysterious underwater pyramid believed to be 12,000 years old reshapes history. And here is the article. A sunken pyramid near Taiwan may rewrite everything we thought we knew about the ancient world. Sitting just 82 feet below sea level near the Ryukyu Islands of Japan, a mysterious object called the Yanaguni Monument continues to stump and astonish researchers since its discovery in 1986. This giant structure with sharp angled steps stands roughly 90 feet tall and appears to be made entirely of stone, leading many to believe it was man-made. However, tests of the stone show it to be over 10,000 years old, meaning that if a civilization built this pyramid by hand, it would have taken place before this region sank underwater more than 12,000 years ago. That would place it further back in history than most ancient structures by several thousand years, including the Egyptian pyramids and Stonehenge. Yeah, based on your very conventional archaeological timestamps, people. I mean, I don't agree with that. Currently, scientists believe that the ability for ancient humans to construct large structures like temples and pyramids evolved alongside the development of agriculture 12,000 years ago. If an advanced society was already building giant step pyramids long before this time, however, it could change the history books forever and reveal another lost tribe of humans. just like the myths of Atlantis. In fact, the Yonaguni Monument is often called Japan's Atlantis. I don't know, people, how this is new information per se. I know that I have known about the Yonaguni Monument for a very long time. And they're even saying since the 80s, people have been looking at it. So what's the big update? That they realize it's now over 10,000 years old?
Sounds like it. They're realizing the timestamp, however they've marked it, is earlier.
Well, they're wrong. And that pyramid is amazing. If you've not seen the Yonaguni Monument, there's several documentaries out there, YouTube, you can find. It's stellar. And it is probably antediluvian because of the scale, some of the steps, the bigger humans, when the gravity was different. This next one is from BBC.com. Headline: Experts dispute claim direwolf brought back from extinction. See, here we go, people. The haters are going to hate. No, this could be true. We're going to look at this. But the direwolf is a species of wolf that supposedly they brought back. Everyone knows, if you're a fan of the Grateful Dead, the song Dire Wolf, which then the writer George R.R. Martin incorporated into his Game of Thrones mythology, the dire wolves. So it became like this pop culture thing. So somehow they brought them back, and now haters are going to hate, and people are saying, hey, no, wait a second. So here's the article. There is a magnificent snow white wolf on the cover of Time magazine today, accompanied by a headline announcing the return of the dire wolf. This now extinct species is possibly most famous for its fictional role in Game of Thrones. But it did exist more than 10,000 years ago when it roamed across the Americas. The company, Colossal Biosciences, is behind those headlines. It announced that it used deft genetic engineering and ancient DNA to breed 3 dire wolf puppies and to de-extinct the species. But while the young wolves, Romulus, Remus, and Khaleesi, oh, very creative guys, represent an impressive technological breakthrough, independent experts say they are not actually dire wolves. And you think about the history of Rome, Romulus and Remus, the 2 wolves, they're being kitschy there, if you didn't know. Zoologist Philip Seddon from the University of Otago in New Zealand explained the animals are genetically modified gray wolves. Colossal publicized its efforts to use similar cutting-edge genetic techniques to bring back extinct animals, including the woolly mammoth and the Tasmanian tiger. Meanwhile, experts have pointed to important biological differences between the wolf on the cover of Time and the dire wolf that roamed and hunted during the last ice age. Paleogeneticist Dr. Nick Rollins, also from Otago University, explained how ancient dire wolf DNA extracted from fossilized remains is too degraded and damaged to biologically copy or clone. Quote, ancient DNA is like if you put fresh DNA in a 500-degree oven overnight, Dr. Rollins told BBC News. It comes out fragmented, like shards and dust. You can reconstruct it, but it's not good enough to do anything else with it. So, are you baking DNA cookies here, bud? Like, how do you know this? Like, what? Instead, he added the de-extinction team used new synthetic biology technology, using the ancient DNA to identify key segments of code that they could edit into the biological blueprint of a living animal, in this case, a gray wolf. Quote, so what Colossal has produced is a gray wolf, but it has some dire wolf-like characteristics, like a larger skull and white fur, said Dr. Rollins. It's a hybrid, but does it get better gas mileage? That was a stupid joke. I'm sorry. And Dr. Beth Shapiro, a biologist from Colossal Biosciences, said that this feat does represent de-extinction, which she described as recreating animals with the same characteristics. Quote, a gray wolf is the closest living relative of a dire wolf. They're genetically really similar, so we targeted DNA sequences that lead to dire wolf traits and then edited gray wolf cells. Then we cloned those cells and created our dire wolves. According to Dr. Rollins, though, dire wolves diverged from gray wolves anywhere between 2.5 to 6 million years ago. Holy cow, this thing's been going on for a while. The edited embryos were implanted in surrogate domestic dog mothers. According to the article in Time, all 3 wolves were born by planned cesarean section to minimize risk of complications. Wow. So really, it's just like the GMO wolf.
It's a GMO wolf. And I'm like, are these companies bored? Like, what is even the point of like recreating the woolly mammoth or the dire wolf?
There is some reason, because we can.
Right, exactly. I was going to say, it's just to see if we can and how well we can and all that. The part about inserting them into dogs is weird, but then there's the whole, we could go down the rabbit hole of animal experimentation, which is
well, it just
weird.
reminds me of the whole alien abduction. The women's get implanted with alien embryos.
Right?
There's the hybrids. But in this case, they got to see the kids afterwards. They're like, look, here's your little dire wolves, Romulus and Remus, the founders of Rome. Okay, speaking of Rome, themirror.com. Headline, barbarians who conquered Roman Empire were, quote, high on hallucinogenic drugs. Okay. Kind of know this already, but let's see what they've, quote unquote, found. And here's the article. Researchers have made a startling discovery about the barbarian warriors who brought down the Roman Empire, that they may have been under the influence of hallucinogenic drugs during their monumental victories. This conclusion was drawn by Polish experts who analyzed 241 spoon-like utensils discovered across Northern Europe and Scandinavia, which were typically worn on the belts of these warriors. The researchers theorized that these warriors used these utensils to consume drugs such as opium and cannabis, along with other substances that alleviated their fears, heightened their aggression, and induced hallucinations. Andrzej Kakowski, an archaeologist and the corresponding author of this new study, stated that the size of these utensils rendered them impractical for any other purpose. He explained these warriors had a tiny spoon attached to their belts, smaller than is served with espresso today. Why do they need such a tiny item? You can't eat soup, right? However, it is large enough to be considered unsuitable for ear hygiene. The only rational explanation is that it was used to dose some substance. Upon investigation, the regions where the warriors resided, the researchers found that they would have had access to opium for fear or pain relief and psychoactive hemp or cannabis sativa. They might also have utilized deadly nightshade and black henbane to trigger hallucinations and fury and fly agaric, a type of fungus, a mushroom.
That's Amanita.
Right. Why are they not saying it's a mushroom? Who wrote this? To induce aggression and trance-like states. Dr. Kakowski, a scholar at Maria Curie Skłodowski University in Lublin, has shed light on the intriguing use of psychoactive substance by ancient Germanic warriors. Quote, these were substances that acted quickly, but with a short, intense period of action. Okay. Well, we kind of knew this. See, this is yet another article talking about stuff that people have known for a really long time. So they found some spoons. People know that if you harvest opium, usually you have some sort of spoon, like a spoon with a chunk cut out. Looks like a moon, like a half moon or something. And you kind of make these little slits in the opium poppy to milk the opium out. Now, that's probably what these were for. Yes, they used mushrooms. They would take incredible amounts of these mushrooms, the fly agaric, Amanita muscaria, and they would be so high they'd be getting their arms chopped off. They'd still be fighting, swinging these giant axes. My God. Okay, but I mean, kind of knew that. But you found the spoons. Isn't that nice? So this next one is a little weird. This is from the NewYorkTimes.com. You know about lab-grown meat. You know about lab-grown or 3D printed organs that are coming or have been in various stages of development. Now we're learning about lab-grown blood vessels, right? So we're getting closer to this technology that's going to grant humanity some form of life extension. These are the beginnings. This is the crudest form of this new technology. Something's coming. Here's the headline. FDA approved lab-grown blood vessel despite warnings.
That sounds typical.
Exactly. And here's the article. When the biotech company Humacyte designed a study to see if its lab-grown blood vessel worked, it decided to measure whether blood was flowing freely through the high-tech tube 30 days after it was implanted in a person. As those days passed, some of the 54 patients in the study ran into trouble. Doctors lost track of one. 4 died. 4 more had a limb amputated, including one who developed a clot and infection in the artificial vessel, FDA records show. Humacyte, which is traded on NASDAQ, counted all those patients as proof of success in talks with investors and in an article in JAMA Surgery. At the FDA, those scientists counted the deaths, amputations, and the lost case as failures, records show, noting a lack of information to determine if the vessels were clear. Still, the agency approved the vessels in December without a public review of the study. Top officials authorized it over the concerns of staff members who said in FDA records that they found the study severely lacking or were alarmed by the dire consequences, not the dire wolves, for patients when the vessels fell apart. Now the company is ramping up its marketing efforts to hospitals and for use on the battlefield. What? It doesn't work, people. People die. They had their freaking arms amputated and all kinds. They even lost track of one guy. What the? Come on. Humans, people, literally. This is like, whoa, humans. Very briefly, when a patient's blood vessel is damaged, doctors typically find a blood vessel from another part of the body and graft it to repair blood flow. They turn to artificial vessels when patients are too badly injured to harvest a vein. The Humacyte vessel is made from a mesh tube seeded with cells from the human heart. The cells grow over 2 months in a bioreactor, and at the end of the process, the human cells and genetic material are removed. A lab-grown tube, mostly made of collagen, developed from the aortic cells, remains. Before the vessel was approved, one FDA medical reviewer pointed out that 37 of the 54 patients were not assessed in a safety check 4 months after getting the implant, with many dead or lost to follow up. Quote, there is significant uncertainty regarding the safety and effectiveness of this product beyond 30 days, the FDA report says. Don't get them, people. Holy cow.
Wow. That's crazy, because then as soon as it's approved, the marketing starts and it's like, oh, use our new vessels. Wow, that's crazy.
Dr. Laura Nicholson, Humacyte's co-founder, defended the product, calling the approval a milestone in regenerative medicine. Critics, however, argue the benefits don't outweigh the risks and that more rigorous oversight was needed. Really? Oh my God, people. Humans. We're so strange, aren't we? That's fine. 4 people died, people lost their lives. We got to make that money. Got to get out there. We're going to be saving people's lives when we're killing them. We got to kill them to save them. It's like buy more, save more, right? It's like buy more, save more. It's like this psychology. Spend more money, you're going to save more money. If we kill more people, we're going to save more people.
It makes sense, right?
Sure. Okay, people. This is a story that we've covered on a few different Beyond the News episodes. In one episode, I remember we covered the progress in 3 different articles. It was like a tale in 3 parts, if you remember, if you happened to catch that a year or so ago. Well, here is another follow-up on the 23andMe DNA data breach, the company going bankrupt, and all of those things. Here's another update on this. This is from Bloomberg.com. Headline: DNA data of 15 million people up for sale after 23andMe demise. All right. Bet you didn't know they're going to be selling your DNA. And here is the article. Millions of Americans who sent their saliva to 23andMe in the hopes of finding lost relatives or identifying health risks buried in their DNA now face seeing their genetic information sold to the highest bidder as part of the company's bankruptcy, setting up a test of existing legal safeguards around privacy and safety. 23andMe has proposed a May 14th auction for the sale of its assets, which include the genetic data of more than 15 million customers. Founded in 2006, 23andMe said in court papers that the data represents, quote, one of the largest crowdsourced platforms for genetic research. The auction shines a light on an aspect of corporate restructuring that receives relatively little notice from the general public until moments like this. Customer data is a valuable asset that often changes hands in Chapter 11, bankruptcy. That includes patient information from bankrupt hospitals or nursing homes, as well as customer data from failed retail chains. And while existing bankruptcy law contains measures to protect sensitive information of failed companies such as 23andMe, the prospect of key genetic information being sold feeds into long simmering unease around privacy and safety in the industry. 23andMe's bankruptcy prompted a flood of social media messages from users worried about what this means for their personal information and that of their families. Those concerns were fueled in part by a 2023 data breach that compromised the information of roughly 7 million 23andMe customers. A 23andMe spokeswoman said in an email that customers can delete data within their account and do not need to contact customer care to do so. In a note to customers, the company said the bankruptcy filing doesn't change how they store or protect personal data, and any buyer will be required to comply with applicable laws with regard to treatment of such information. Yeah, okay, buddy. So there you go, people. They're selling it in May. There's an auction. And if you haven't deleted your data, go through their processes of deleting it. If you are a person that did that sent your DNA in to be tested. Hey, I'm not going to judge. I'm just going to say, don't do that again and get that data deleted, people, because you don't know what's going on with your biology once it leaves your hands. As we pivot to this terrible article, Reuters.com headline: Poland arrests Ukrainian woman convicted of selling 56 human kidneys. Okay, see? DNA, kidneys, it's all out there for sale.
I'm guessing these people didn't send in their kidneys?
No, probably absolutely not. And here is the article. Polish border guards detained a Ukrainian woman who was sentenced in Kazakhstan to 12 years in prison for participating in an organized criminal group trading in human organs and selling 56 kidneys, prosecutors said on Tuesday. The 35-year-old woman, referred to only as Kasyna P. under Polish privacy laws, was detained at a railway crossing between Poland and Ukraine under an Interpol red notice. Marta Petkowska, A spokeswoman for the prosecutor's office in that area said in a statement. The prosecutors didn't say why the woman wasn't in prison in Kazakhstan at the time she was detained at the crossing or when she was convicted. She has been wanted by Interpol since November 2020, prosecutors said. An Interpol Red Notice is a request to global law enforcement to provisionally arrest a person pending extradition or similar legal action. The woman was convicted for participation in an international organized criminal group that illegally collected tissues and organs from people from 2017 to 2019 and sold them on the black market. She was also convicted of illegally obtaining kidneys from 56 injured parties in Kazakhstan, Armenia, Ukraine, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, and Thailand for financial benefit and of making the crimes committed a permanent source of income. Oh my God. So there you go, people. DNA, organs, it's all out there. You want a toe? I can get you a toe. That's a classic line, Big Lebowski. If you didn't know, we got a lot of jokes today. So let's pivot from the horrors of humanity to 37 dimensions. Lifetechnology.com. Here is the headline. Physicists in China measure light pulse in 37 dimensions. What? Physicists in China have achieved a groundbreaking milestone by measuring a pulse of light in 37 dimensions, revealing new layers of non-classical behavior in quantum mechanics and pushing the boundaries of classical physics. Published in Science Advances, the experiment showcases the profound complexity of light and underscores the wave-particle duality and unpredictability that define quantum systems. This multidimensional exploration not only deepens our understanding of quantum mechanics, but also opens doors for future advances in quantum computing, telecommunications, and information processing. The work, made possible by collaboration across multiple Chinese institutions, marks a bold leap into uncharted scientific territory and highlights the vast potential of quantum technologies to transform how we understand and interact with the universe. 37 dimensions. How did they get that number?
They don't really explain what that means.
No, they don't. But strangely, it seems normal. 37 dimensions. What do you mean? You don't know about the 37 dimensions? What?
They're all like in a test tube though, like or in like this tiny little vacuum or whatever they're using.
Yeah, there's something going on there. So perhaps you heard about this. It's big news in the mainstream world. They found an Earth-like planet very close to us. CNN.com. Headline: Scientists detect signature of life on a distant planet, study suggests. And here is the article. Astronomers using the James Webb Space Telescope have detected what they consider the most promising potential biosignature yet on an exoplanet. And we've talked about this one. K2-18b. A distant world located 124 light years away and believed to be a Hycean planet covered in water with a hydrogen-rich atmosphere. The team found chemical traces of dimethyl sulfide, DMS, and possibly dimethyl disulfide, DMDS, in the planet's atmosphere, molecules that on Earth are only produced by microbial life, particularly marine phytoplankton. While earlier Webb observations had already confirmed the presence of methane and carbon dioxide, this new detection, made with a different instrument and at a different wavelength, adds a compelling new layer, although researchers remain cautious. Lead author Niku Madhusudan and colleagues stress that more data and independent analysis are needed before making claims about extraterrestrial life, as these molecules could still come from unknown abiotic processes. Some experts, including MIT astrophysicist Sarah Seeger, note the ambiguity of the planet's nature, whether it's truly a Hycean world, a molten magma ocean, or a mini Neptune, and caution that enthusiasm must not outpace evidence. Further skepticism comes from astrobiologist Eddie Schweiderman, who points out that the absence of expected byproducts like ethane could indicate the DMS-DMDS signal is incomplete or misinterpreted. Nonetheless, the signal strength, which reached a statistical significance of 3 sigma, just under the threshold for scientific certainty, marks a critical step forward in the search for alien life. The researchers emphasize that more Webb observations and comparisons with other exoplanets are needed, but this finding, if validated, could help define the criteria for life elsewhere in the universe and represents a potential turning point in astrobiology. We knew about that planet. This is a lot of new old news in this episode. This is what we covered. It's supposedly current.
There's so much, though. There's so much published every day. It all gets lost. So this could be the first time a lot of people are hearing about it. They read it, even though it's the 3rd time it's been reported on.
Exactly. So these next 2 articles are kind of funny. Just a little brevity in the middle here. The dailymail.co.uk published 2 articles with the headlines, "The Most Peaceful Way to Die" and "The Most Painful Way to Die." And this is news on Earth, so let's just take a look at it. We'll just see what they say. We'll condense these 2 articles into one little segment here. And here we go. Despite the mystery surrounding death, researchers and physicians agree that some ways to go are far gentler than others. Surprisingly, dying in your sleep may not be the most peaceful method. Other paths, though seemingly dramatic, may offer a quicker or more painless exit. Implosion. While implosion sounds horrific, experts say it's likely one of the most painless deaths imaginable. Death under anesthesia. 1 minute you're awake, 1 minute you're dead. Sudden cardiac arrest. Often sudden cardiac arrest, which is unlike a heart attack, it can kill someone within 4 to 6 minutes. That's still a long time. End-stage kidney disease. According to hospice nurse Julie McFadden, one of the most peaceful deaths she's witnessed is from end-stage kidney failure, especially after a patient stops dialysis. Within 7 to 10 days, the buildup of toxins causes deep fatigue, and most patients sleep through their final days. Some itching may occur, but by then, they're typically too tired to notice. She described it as the closest thing to dying in your sleep. Okay, well, the most painful ways to die. Number 1, being burned alive. Number 2, radiation poisoning. Number 3, being eaten alive by insects. Scaphism, a Persian execution method, may be history's slowest and most grotesque death. Victims were trapped in wooden planks covered in honey and milk and left to be consumed alive by insects over days. Oh my God. Decompression sickness is the most painful. The bends. I've heard that. When divers ascend too quickly, nitrogen in the blood forms bubbles, damaging organs and causing violent muscle cramps. Whew. Okay, so there you go, people. Now you know. They're just reporting on Earth's information. And smuggling is taking another twist. APnews.com headline, Belgian teens arrested with 5,000 smuggled ants as Kenya warns of changing trafficking trends. Smuggling ants, why would you do that, right? But check this out. Here's the article. 2 Belgian teenagers were charged Tuesday with wildlife piracy after they were found with thousands of ants packed in test tubes in what Kenyan authorities said was part of a trend in trafficking smaller and lesser known species. Lornoy David and Seppi Lodgewick, 2 19-year-olds, were arrested on April 5th with 5,000 ants at a guest house, and they appeared distraught during their appearance before a magistrate in Nairobi and were comforted in the courtroom by relatives. They told the magistrate that they were collecting the ants for fun and did not know that it was illegal. In a separate criminal case, Kenyan Dennis Nagana and Vietnamese Du Han Nguyen were also charged with illegal trafficking in the same courtroom following their arrest while in possession of 400 ants. The Kenya Wildlife Service said the 4 men were involved in trafficking the ants to markets in Europe and Asia, and that the species included mesocephalates, a distinctive large and red-colored harvester ant native to East Africa. The illegal export of the ants, quote, not only undermines Kenya's sovereign rights over its biodiversity, but also deprives local communities and research institutions of potential ecological and economic benefits. Kenya has in the past fought against the trafficking of body parts of larger species of wild animals such as elephants, rhinos, and pangolins, among others. But the cases against the 4 men represent a shift in trafficking trends from iconic large mammals to lesser known yet ecologically critical species. Kenyan authorities valued the ants at 1 million shillings, which is about $7,000. Prices for ants can vary greatly according to the species in the market. Who are buying these ants and why?
Yeah, I had no idea there was a market for ants.
Oh my God. Yeah, tell me about it.
Maybe next time you'll find an article about how they're using these ants around the world for various, maybe they're like employing them as excavation worker ants in new tunnels, or I don't know. Like
something's going on, but they were all queens, which is interesting.
Oh, interesting. So for breeding then, but
perhaps.
For what?
But for what? Next article, theguardian.com, headline, UK creating, quote, murder prediction tool to identify people most likely to kill. Oh my God, this is the Minority Report thing. Okay, and here's the article. The UK government is developing a murder prediction program, which it hopes can use personal data of those known to the authorities to identify the people most likely to become killers. Researchers are alleged to be using algorithms to analyze the information of thousands of people, including victims of crime, as they try to identify those at greater risk of committing serious violent offenses. The scheme was originally called the Homicide Prediction Project, but its name has been changed to Sharing Data to Improve Risk Assessment. The Ministry of Justice hopes the project will help boost public safety, but campaigners have called it chilling and dystopian. The existence of the project was discovered by the pressure group Statewatch, and some of its workings uncovered through documents obtained by Freedom of Information requests. Statewatch says data from people not convicted of any criminal offense will be used as part of the project, including personal information about self-harm and details relating to domestic abuse. Officials strongly deny this, insisting only data about people with at least one criminal conviction has been used. The government says the project is at this stage for research only, but campaigners claim the data used would build bias into the predictions against minority, ethnic, and poor people. Interesting. A Ministry of Justice spokesperson said, this project is being conducted for research purposes only. It has been designed using existing data held by HM Prison and Probation Service and police forces on convicted offenders to help us better understand the risks of people on probation going on to commit serious violence. A report will be published in due course. Oh boy, I bet it will. So there you go, my UK listeners. Be careful out there. Don't let this happen. You're human beings. You have human rights, just like all the other humans on this planet. Fight for your rights to privacy, to sovereignty, and all of those things, my great English listeners. So this is a funny one. We always like to throw the funny ones in the middle a little bit. NBCnews.com, headline, Nevada man arrested after 7 emotional support tigers are seized from his home. Okay.
I haven't heard that one yet. I've heard of a lot of different emotional
7
support.
of them.
You know, sometimes you need 7 tigers to feel.
But can you think of, seriously, how cuddly that would be to have these giant cats?
If they were like friendly and you could just cuddle up in the middle of 7 furry tigers and they're all purring. That would be some emotional support, honestly.
Yeah, let's take the danger out of the equation. They're just 7 big cats, and you get to cuddle with them and hang out with them. You're feeding them. I get it. So here's the article. A Nevada man who was arrested Wednesday after 7 tigers were seized from his home said they were his emotional support animals. Officials raided Carl Mitchell's home in Pahrump on Wednesday morning and arrested him on suspicion of resisting arrest. Mitchell, 71, did not have a special conditions animal permit to own the animals, which Nye County requires, and he violated other rules over the years, officials said. Quote, "We have received information over the years that he has been seen walking the tigers loose around the property, off the property, in the desert," Sheriff Joe McGill said in an interview. There have been social media posts from him with people interacting with the cats, which is also in violation. Ooh. Mitchell told KSNV he did not need permits because the tigers are his emotional support animals and the public was not in any danger from them. The Americans with Disabilities Act does not recognize tigers as emotional support animals. Mitchell also said he rescued the big cats from Tiger King Joe Exotic, the former Oklahoma zookeeper of Netflix fame, who was convicted in a murder for hire case involving animal welfare activist Carol Baskin. He is serving a 21-year prison sentence. And I'm pretty sure Carol Baskin is from the Baskin and Robbins family. Okay. I don't know about the Tiger King. I'm not a Netflix guy. You guys are going to have to send me an email and let me know what that all means. Look, I know he had a show. He was the Tiger King. There were so many memes. I just never watched the show. The 7 tigers were seized from Mitchell's home and evaluated by a veterinarian who was on site during their removal, the sheriff's office said. The cats will be taken to an undisclosed sanctuary where they will be held until ordered to be released, it said. Wow. So there you go. Emotional support tigers. So, if there happens to be an alien invasion, just to pivot from tigers to aliens, you want to know where the best place to fight back is, to just survive. ClickOrlando.com is telling us. Headline, Florida ranks among best states for alien survival score. Here's what that means. And here is the article. According to CNN, the Pentagon received over 1,650 reports of UFOs as of November 2024. Nearly half of these accounts were reported between May 2023 and June 2024. With this in mind, researchers at GigaCalculator have revealed the states most likely to survive an alien invasion, a spokesperson for the website told News 6. The ranking looks at factors like forestry, bodies of water, and the share of figures who might be useful in the case of an extraterrestrial attack, such as scientists and military forces. While Virginia took the top spot on the list, Florida didn't lag far behind, coming in strong at number 6. In addition, the researchers noted that Nevada ranked at the bottom as the least likely to survive an alien invasion. Well, that's because Area 51's right there. I mean, maybe they're all right there. Furthermore, Vermont had the most reported UFO sightings per 10,000 people. Wow. So Vermont, well, I've seen so many in Oregon and Washington. Vermont, they're saying, but the safest place is Virginia. Let's just go to the top 10. Ready? Virginia, Alabama, Massachusetts, New York, Minnesota, Florida, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Alaska, and Georgia. So number 1 is Virginia. My Virginian listeners, if they're coming, they're aggressive, and they want to fight, you're in the right place to find it out. Let's just rename Earth Virginia if you guys are the only survivors. So, just kidding. Okay, so recently we had guest George Hawes on, and he talked about some of the 3D structures that are on Mars, these verifiable geometric structures. He also talked about geoglyphs, But there's a lot going on there. They just found another thing, another anomaly. This is from timesofindia.com. Headline: NASA captures mysterious hole on Mars that could be a portal for alien life. Here's the article. We're going to have to ask George about this next time he's on. NASA has released an image of a mysterious 328-foot wide hole on Mars, describing it as a potential portal to underground caves that may support alien life. The image, originally captured by the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter in 2017, was shared on April 13th as part of NASA's Astronomy Picture of the Day. Really? They chose that one, huh? Scientists believe such pits could shield life from Mars's harsh surface conditions, which include high levels of radiation due to the lack of a strong magnetic field and atmosphere. These features make surface habitation nearly impossible, pushing the focus toward subterranean environments that may offer more stable and life-sustaining conditions. The newly revealed hole has sparked renewed interest in exploring Mars's subsurface, with NASA and the U.S. Geological Survey identifying over 1,000 similar cave-like openings across the planet. This newly revealed hole has sparked renewed interest in exploring Mars's subsurface, with NASA and the U.S. Geological Survey identifying over 1,000 similar cave-like openings across the planet. These formations might have been created by meteor impacts and could lead to extensive lava tubes or underground networks. Experts say these naturally formed structures not only offer protection, but may also have preserved water, ice, and organic compounds, essential ingredients for life, over billions of years. Such sites are being closely studied as potential habitats or even historical records of microbial Martian life. Wow. Okay. So go look at the picture. Brynn, what do you think of that picture? Could it be an entrance into the underground world of Mars where the inhabitants of Mars may have migrated? Or is it just a big fat sinkhole?
Your guess is as good as mine. That's a bit hard to tell. I don't know. It looks like a
could be a lot of things.
Hole in the ground, dear Liza.
Well, I'm going to have to ask George about that, George Haas. And this is from thesun.com. This is interesting. Headline: Over my dead body. Spare human bodies grown in artificial wombs in lab as scientists insist bodyoids feel no pain and can serve as meat. Oh, great. I was wondering what those hot dogs were made out of at Costco.
Is this an April Fool's article? Tell me this one isn't real.
Let's find out. Here's the article. Cutting-edge scientists have unveiled a disturbing plan to grow soulless, spare human bodies that can be used for medical experiments and even meat. The so-called bodyoids would be grown in artificial wombs and have the eerie ability to withstand endless pain. The scientists, Karsten T. Charlesworth, Henry T. Greeley, and Hiromitsu Nakuchi, made their bizarre pitch in MIT Technology Review and explained why the Frankenstein-esque plan would revolutionize medicine. They said the zombie-ish bodies would be key to testing out new medicines and growing human organs for transplants. The plan would become a reality by using pluripotent stem cells, one of the earliest cell types to form during human development. The stem cells already have been used to grow organic matter and most recently helped to successfully create a structure that resembles a human embryo. Researchers hope to grow the fetuses entirely outside a body in artificial uteruses, which are already being tested in labs. They plan on using genetic techniques to stunt brain production and ensure the body lacks sentience. Once they're grown, the bodies could address many ethical problems in modern medicine, offering ways to avoid unnecessary pain and suffering. One of those issues according to the brazen scientists, brazen, I don't know if that's the right word, is sourcing ethical meat. They wrote, for example, they could offer an ethical alternative to the way we currently use non-human animals for research and food, providing meat or other products with no animal suffering or awareness. The researchers admitted their plan poses endless ethical questions, but stressed the world of possibilities that could open up if the spare bodies are developed. They pointed out how medical researchers have been primarily relying on animals, which isn't always directly transferable to human treatments. Plus, the testing potentially tortures the creatures, potentially.
I know, right? Animal testing, only potentially.
What? As they're sentient and feel pain. Potentially? Come on, you answered your own question at the end there. They're sentient and feel pain. Humans, huh? And in closing, they said, until recently, the idea of making something like a bodyoid, why did they come up with that name, would have been relegated to the realms of science fiction and philosophical speculation. But now it is at least plausible and possibly revolutionary. It is time for it to be explored. Is it? Is it though? Speaking of exploring, there have been a lot of interesting segues in this episode. CBSnews.com. This is real, people. Headline, babysitter checking for monsters finds man hiding under child's bed. Okay, so be careful out there, people. Here's the article briefly. A babysitter in Kansas found a troubling surprise after a child she was watching complained there was a monster hiding. The babysitter found a man hiding under a child's bed after they attempted to show the children there was nothing under there, the Barton County Sheriff's Office said in a statement Wednesday. She came face to face with a male suspect who was hiding there. Oh my God. Sheriff's deputies arrived at the home just outside the city of Great Bend on Monday after they were called about the disturbance. After the deputies arrived, the babysitter told the deputies that when the man was discovered, there was an altercation. Oh my God. The babysitter and child were knocked over during the scuffle and the suspect fled. The following day, deputies spotted the man while they were in the area looking for the suspect. He ran and they caught him. Martin Villalobos, 27, was arrested and booked into Barton County Jail on multiple charges, including aggravated kidnapping and child endangerment. My God. Okay. And here we go. This is just because, dude, humans, right? Check this out. NBC. Look, I promise we're full of love and light. There is so much good, but there's so much weirdness, and we just got to look at this stuff. NBCnews.com. Headline, woman admits trying to sell human toes regurgitated by dogs. And the subheadline is, the woman was working at an animal shelter in Australia and planned to sell the 2 toes on an online black market. Here's this weird black market stuff again. Did you know there was a black market for regurgitated toes?
Seems like there's a black market for everything from
oh my God,
ants
DNA
to kidneys to DNA to God, we don't want to know.
Regurgitated toes. And here's the article. An Australian woman narrowly avoided jail Monday over her plans to sell on the black market 2 human toes that dogs had regurgitated at the animal shelter where she worked. Joanna Kinman, 48, was not at the animal shelter in the southeastern state of Victoria when the 2 dogs vomited up the toes and other remains in February of 2024. The dogs, which had been surrendered to the shelter, had eaten parts of their owner's body after he died of natural causes, and the owner has not been publicly identified. Kinman reportedly told police she retrieved the toes from a bin and taken them home, where she put them in a jar of formaldehyde. She believed she could make as much as 400 Australian dollars, 253 American, by selling them online. When police arrived at her home on an anonymous tip, she showed them other items she had been keeping, including an alligator claw, a bird skull, a guinea pig trotter, and her children's teeth. Prosecutors said she was an active member of a Facebook group called Bone Buddies Australia, on which specimens are bought, sold, and traded. Well, there's your black market, Brynn. It's Facebook groups. Holy cow. Bone Buddies Australia? What? Magistrate Andrew Sims sentenced her to 18-month non-custodial sentence, including 150 hours of community service. Quote, by the barest of all possible margins, you will not be going to jail today. What the?
She's like, I just found the toes in a bin. I mean, they were going to go in the garbage. Like, I just, I thought, I could make $500. And who's buying the toes is a more pressing question, really.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I would check those Facebook groups. But speaking of throwing valuable things in the trash, APnews.com headline, a 2,000-year-old statue is found abandoned in a garbage bag in Greece. Here's the article. A marble statue of a woman believed to be more than 2,000 years old was found abandoned in a garbage bag near the Greek city of Thessaloniki, police said Wednesday. A resident discovered the 80-centimeter headless statue beside a trash bin outside of Greece's second largest city. The man turned it over to local authorities, who contacted archaeologists to assess its significance. Police and experts, following an initial evaluation, determined the piece dates to the Hellenistic era, a period roughly between 320 and 30 BC that was marked by a flourishing of art and culture following the conquests of Alexander the Great. Accidental archaeological discoveries are relatively common in Greece, a country renowned for its ancient heritage and often made during building construction or public works. In December, workers installing natural gas pipelines near Athens uncovered a Roman-era statue of Hermes buried upright in a brick-lined pit near the Acropolis. Interesting. So there you go. Just check your trash, people. You never know. Don't check your trash. Just don't throw out the statues. Okay, so let's pivot over to outer space, and then we'll go to the AI. FoxNews.com headline, UFO footage captured by U.S. Navy shows mysterious aircraft launching from sea, expert says. Here's the article. A group of UFOs spotted by Navy sailors is raising eyebrows after witnesses reported watching the oddly shaped aircraft rise from the ocean before jetting off in a synchronized fashion last year. The 4 aircraft were spotted by sailors aboard USS Jackson while off the coast of California last year. Quote, this is a machine that is able to outpace, outmaneuver, and outperform anything that we know of that's been made by technology and terrestrial nations, says UFO researcher Jeremy Corbell. The UFOs reportedly emerged from the Pacific Ocean and were spotted by sailors before showing up on the ship's radar, an unnamed witness told Corbell. Footage recorded by the Navy warship and obtained by Corbell shows the 4 aircraft grouping together before racing off in unison. Okay. So more new footage coming from the U.S. military. And this is an interesting one. And this came with this declassified CIA document dump that happened recently related to JFK and other things. This is from the NewYorkPost.com. Headline, declassified Cold War era CIA files detail Soviet clash with aliens who witnesses say turned soldiers to stone. This one's really interesting. This is literally from the American CIA. So here we go. A declassified Cold War era file from the CIA has gone viral over its coverage of a supposed clash between Soviet soldiers and a UFO, passengers of which reportedly turned the troops to stone before blasting off. Following the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, the CIA acquired a 250-page KGB report recounting the events that transpired after a platoon fired at a flying saucer over Ukraine. The report included eyewitness accounts and pictures of the aftermath, which one American agent described as, quote, a horrific picture of revenge on the part of extraterrestrial creatures, a picture that makes one's blood freeze. The report claims Soviets conducted a training exercise in Ukraine. The report claims Soviets conducting a training exercise in Ukraine spotted a, quote, low-flying spaceship in the shape of a saucer soaring above their heads. During the encounter, one of the Soviets fired a surface-to-air missile which struck the UFO and sent it crashing to the ground. It fell to Earth not far away, and 5 short humanoids with large heads and large black eyes emerged from it, the report claims. After escaping the debris of their ruined ship, the beings huddled together and merged into a single object that acquired a spherical shape. The surviving soldiers recalled. Okay. In a few seconds, the spheres grew much bigger and exploded by flaring up with an extremely bright light. At that very instant, 23 soldiers who had watched the phenomenon turned into stone poles, the report states. Only 2 soldiers who stood in the shade and were less exposed to the luminous explosion survived, it added. The KGB allegedly took custody of the petrified soldiers in the ruined spacecraft, which were transported to a secret base near Moscow. The Soviet scientists found that whatever the light was, it somehow transformed the soldiers' living cells into a substance that was identical to limestone. If the KGB file corresponds to reality, this is an extremely menacing case, the CIA concluded. The aliens possess such weapons and technology that go beyond all our assumptions. They can stand up for themselves if attacked. The CIA document was declassified in the year 2000 and originally covered by the Canadian Weekly World News and the Ukrainian paper Holos Ukraini, but it has remained of interest to UFO aficionados and was mentioned on several podcasts, including this one, and more new old news. I kind of remember that from 25 years ago, but hey, sometimes we need a refresher.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard of that one before, actually.
Okay, so now let's go to AI. ZD.net headline. AI has grown beyond human knowledge, says Google's DeepMind unit. And here's the article. Researchers at Google DeepMind say artificial intelligence has outgrown the limits of human instruction and needs a new way to learn, not just from data, but from direct experience. In a new paper, Welcome to the Era of Experience, AI legends David Silver and Richard Sutton argue that AI can no longer evolve through prompts and prepackaged information alone. Most modern AI, like ChatGPT, interacts in short bursts, question, response, done. These interactions don't allow for growth, adaptation, or long-term learning. Silver and Sutton propose a new model called streams, long continuous interactions with the world that let AI agents learn like humans do, over time through feedback and in context. This new method builds on reinforcement learning, the same approach used in AlphaZero, DeepMind's chess and Go champion. But instead of learning within fixed environments, stream-based agents would operate in the real world, browsing the web, tracking human goals, or conducting scientific research, learning from mistakes, and refining strategies naturally. What fuels these agents isn't a static data set, but a continuous flow of real-world signals. Heart rate, energy use, climate metrics, profit, attention, satisfaction, all become rewards that shape learning. This makes AI flexible, responsive, and capable of insight beyond human presets. Over time, stream agents may far outpace traditional AI, not just in performance, but in understanding, by seeing more, longer, and deeper than any human ever could. But long-lived autonomous agents raise concerns. What happens when AI takes long-term action with little human input? While the researchers suggest adaptive AI could sense and respond to human discomfort, the ability to act independently for extended periods introduces new risks, from job disruption to unanticipated outcomes. Oh, really? Even so, the payoff is immense. Agents could pursue decades-long goals, discovering new materials, solving global crises, or becoming truly lifelong assistants. In short, training AI on Reddit and other social media is yesterday's model. Tomorrow's AI will be trained by the world itself. Interesting that they're called agents. And then you think about the Matrix, and the people that were reinforcing the Matrix were called agents.
Yeah, I didn't. As soon as you said that word agents, I was like, ooh, I don't really like that. Doesn't give it a...
Okay. One more AI article, and this is actually a good one because we're talking about protection from some of this AI as people are making these inappropriate pictures using people, in some cases, from their school or some situation. So Oregon has made a move to criminalize some of these photos. So this is from OregonCapitalChronicle.com. Headline: Oregon House passes bill to criminalize sharing AI-generated fake nude photos. And here is the article. As artificial intelligence continues to evolve and make it easier to create realistic fake photos and video, Oregon lawmakers voted unanimously to add digitally created or altered images and recordings to the state's, quote, revenge porn law. The House's 56-0 vote means Oregon is a step closer to becoming the 32nd state to ban the use of AI or other digital manipulation to create and spread nude or sexually explicit photos without consent. House Bill 2299 now heads to the state Senate. Yeah, good. I think that stuff's super duper weird. And it's been around for as long as Photoshop's been around. Even though, yes, there's now AI-generated ones. People were doing that literally 30 years ago. So now let's pivot out into space just for a second. And this one is from Earth.com. And here is the headline. At least 10 billion stars in our Milky Way galaxy can support habitable planets. And here is the article. Stellar corpses are supposed to cool, fade, and mind their own business. Yet a new climate modeling study hints that some of these faint objects, white dwarfs, could keep nearby planets toasty enough for liquid water to exist. That possibility expands the hunting grounds for habitable worlds by billions of targets and challenges the old idea that life can flourish only around stars that are very much alive. Today's tools make that hunt more than wishful thinking. The James Webb Space Telescope has already glimpsed gas giant candidates circling white dwarfs, proving that planets can survive their star's violent endgame. With Webb's infrared eyes, astronomers can now probe rocky worlds the size of Earth. That capability sets the stage for fresh computer experiments comparing two very different star systems. And here's the article. A new study suggests that at least 10 billion stars in the Milky Way, specifically white dwarfs, could support habitable planets, dramatically expanding the cosmic real estate for life. Using advanced climate models, scientists demonstrated that rocky planets orbiting these stellar remnants, which were once written off as too dim and dead, could actually maintain surface temperatures warm enough for liquid water. This potential stems from fast orbital speeds, such as a 10-hour year, that generate strong winds and strip away thick clouds, allowing better heat distribution and less cooling than similar planets orbiting active stars like Kepler-62. In simulations, a tidally locked ocean world orbiting a white dwarf ran about 25 degrees warmer than its main sequence counterpart, retaining more habitable surface area, especially near the twilight zone between day and night. With planets like WD 1856 plus 534b already observed around white dwarfs, and the James Webb Space Telescope, now capable of detecting rocky worlds in their atmospheres, researchers believe we may be entering a new era of exoplanet discovery, one focused on long overlooked stars. Since over 97% of all stars will end their lives as white dwarfs, the idea that dead stars could cradle life shifts the paradigm, offering billions of potential new targets in our galactic neighborhood for astrobiologists to explore. So there you go. There's more habitable planets out there than we thought, and really, we're going to find even more. We're going to find life just like on Earth. We're going to find life in places that we never thought possible.
Right. And they also talk about how the Earth will die when the sun explodes, but perhaps that isn't true either.
Exactly. Especially if we can move the Earth. I mean, if it starts spreading out, we might be in trouble a little bit.
Yeah, I can't imagine there wouldn't be any effect. That's for sure.
Okay. Science.org. Headline: Bizarre Tatooine exoplanet orbits 2 failed stars at once. About 120 light years from Earth, 2 brown dwarfs host a planet with a surprisingly sideways orbit. And here is the article. Like the fictional world of Tatooine, some real exoplanets orbit 2 suns, but a newly discovered planet, 2M1510 AB, we just talked about that, takes that concept to a new extreme by circling over and under the poles of a binary pair of brown dwarfs rather than orbiting along their shared plane. Reported in Science Advances, this planet's unusual path marks the first confirmed example of a polar orbit in a binary system, making it a rare find among the mere 16 exoplanets known to orbit binary stars. Brown dwarfs, often called failed stars because they lack the mass to ignite nuclear fusion, were first spotted in this system in 2018, just 120 light years away, and are estimated to be only 45 million years old. When researchers zoomed in using Chile's Very Large Telescope, they discovered something even stranger. The dwarves' elliptical orbits were precessing in reverse, unlike typical systems. This peculiar wobble could only be explained by the gravitational influence of a planet orbiting nearly perpendicular to the star's orbital plane. Though the planet itself wasn't directly imaged, its fingerprints were all over the system's odd behavior, offering some of the most compelling evidence yet for high inclination planetary orbits. Such orbits may be caused by gravitational jolts from passing stars or chaotic interactions during planetary formation. With the brown dwarfs completing their orbit every 21 days and passing as close as 5.6 million kilometers from each other, the configuration made detecting this reverse motion possible. Astronomers hope to uncover more of these wildly tilted systems to better understand the chaotic forces shaping planetary architecture across the galaxy and, as the study lead Thomas Bancroft puts it, see how crazy the universe can get. Okay. A lot out there, people, right? We still have so much yet to discover. Okay. Now let's pivot over to the world of psychedelics for a second. Apparently, there was a mushroom DMT dispensary in Ontario. I was there last year. I didn't see it. This is from globalnews.ca. Headline: Over $3.5 million in magic mushrooms and DMT seized in major Ontario drug bust. And here's the article. York Regional Police have laid dozens of charges after shutting down a network of illegal magic mushroom stores across Ontario, seizing almost $4 million in product. The investigation, called Project Magic, began in March 2024 after complaints were made about a Fun Guys Magic Mushrooms location near Yonge and Center Streets in Vaughan. Police say the store was openly selling psilocybin and DMT, both of which are illegal under Canadian law. Officers with the Guns, Gangs, and Drug Enforcement Unit launched a months-long probe and expanded their search to other Fun Guys stores operating across the province. Investigators executed 29 search warrants and seized a large quantity of illegal drugs, cash, and property. According to police, more than $3.5 million worth of psilocybin and DMT was recovered, along with more than $450,000 in cash and a property valued at over $1 million. In total, 15 people were charged and 78 criminal offenses were laid, including drug trafficking, possession for the purpose of trafficking, possession of forged documents, and identity fraud. The investigation was tipped off last year after a seizure in Richmond Hill led to 2 arrests and the recovery of $63,000 worth of psilocybin edibles, DMT vapes, and Canadian currency. Police are reminding the public that these substances are not legal to buy or sell in Canada, and anyone who purchased from such stores online or in person may face criminal charges. Okay. Wow. How long were they running? I mean, you could go to a store. Fun Guys sounds like they were expanding. They had a chain and they were openly selling DMT and mushrooms in Canada. That's wild.
Right. Which if they opened a store or two and it seemed to be fine, then they're like, okay, let's open another. Right. And it just seemed to be fine. So I wonder how long that was going on for.
I'm not sure. But, you know, if you can't sell it in the stores, I guess you can make it at home. This one is from kvsc.org. Headline, 2 in custody for making and storing DMT in their garage. Okay. This is in Big Lake, Minnesota. Here's the article. A husband and wife from Big Lake are in custody for operating a DMT lab. The Sherburne County Sheriff's Office says a search warrant was executed on Tuesday, March 4th at the house of 34-year-old Kevin Schweitz and his wife, 32-year-old Jean Schweitz. Investigators discovered a clandestine lab in the garage attached to the house. Investigators seized approximately 68 pounds of suspected liquid DMT, 61 grams of DMT powder, 19 grams of methamphetamine, 1 gram of cocaine, and 21 grams of psilocybin mushrooms. That's an interesting combination of substances if you think about that. The couple made their first court appearance on March 7th and are charged with 1st, 3rd, and 5th degree controlled substance crimes and storing methamphetamine paraphernalia in the presence of children. Wow. Kevin Schweitz was also charged with possessing ammunition after being convicted of a crime that prohibited him from possessing firearms. Wow. So there you go. Like, whoa. They were at methamphetamines for around kids and they had DMT?
I know. That's
like what?
The two things really don't seem like they go together.
They don't
at all.
No. So we're getting through, people. Last little handful of articles here. This is from livescience.com. Headline, scientists observe new quantum phase that could have major implications for quantum computing. So this isn't the 37 dimensions thing. This is something else. And so it sounds like they're doing a lot of quantum research in China right now. And here's the article. Physicists in China have observed a long theorized quantum phenomenon known as a superradiant phase transition, marking the first time this exotic quantum phase has been experimentally confirmed. A breakthrough with major implications for quantum computing, sensing, and communications. Published in Science Advances, the study involved cooling a crystal made of iron, erbium, and oxygen to near absolute zero and exposing it to a magnetic field over 100,000 times stronger than Earth's. Under these extreme conditions, researchers observed a coordinated fluctuation between 2 distinct spin systems, iron and erbium ions, signaling the unmistakable presence of an SRPT. Originally predicted in 1954 by Robert H. Deek and formerly modeled in the 1970s, this phase transition was once considered impossible due to theoretical limitations in light-based systems. However, by using magnons, quantum spin waves, instead of vacuum fluctuations, the team bypassed these constraints and successfully induced the phase. The SRPT's unique properties, including quantum squeezing, allow for enhanced precision by reducing quantum noise in specific measurements. Beyond measurement gains, SRPT's collective behavior could lead to more stable and error-resistant qubits, longer coherence times, and faster quantum gate operations, advances that could significantly accelerate the development of quantum technology. So more huge breakthroughs showing us this new technological world that's coming. It's just right around the corner.
Through quantum squeezing and other such methods.
There's a lot of quantum action going on. And there's a lot of... Oh, this was supposed to go in the psychedelic section. All right, this is gone. And let's just, again, touch on psychedelics for a second. We saw how people can get in trouble with it, but look, it has some really good things too. SciPost.org. Here is the headline. New study shows LSD changes brain connectivity in unique ways compared to MDMA and amphetamines. A new brain imaging study published in Molecular Psychiatry reveals that LSD alters brain connectivity in ways significantly different from MDMA and D-amphetamine, challenging assumptions that these psychoactive substances affect the brain similarly. While all three drugs disrupt communication within visual and cognitive networks, only LSD substantially reduces integrity in the default mode network associated with self-awareness and dramatically increases global and between network connectivity, particularly in brain regions with high concentrations of serotonin 2A receptors. These changes support the thalamic filter hypothesis, suggesting LSD allows unfiltered sensory and emotional data to flood into consciousness, potentially explaining its vivid and introspective effects. In contrast, MDMA, often seen as psychedelic-like, and D-amphetamine exhibited strikingly similar patterns of connectivity disruption, despite having different primary pharmacological targets. This overlap may stem from shared stimulation of norepinephrine systems and challenges the notion of MDMA as a true psychedelic. Conducted on 25 healthy volunteers using a placebo-controlled crossover fMRI design, the study also highlights limitations, including the possibility of lingering effects between sessions and a lack of clinical population data. Lead author Mihai Avram emphasizes that understanding the neurophysiological distinctions between these substances is vital for advancing personalized psychedelic therapy. His team is currently completing a follow-up project comparing LSD with psilocybin and mescaline, with the long-term goal of translating this comparative neuroimaging work into more targeted psychiatric treatments. Interesting. So, as LSD takers know, if you've tried these various substances, you know that they're radically different. They're radically different. And there's nothing like LSD. It's its own thing. And the experiences that you have, the potency, it's unmatchable with MDMA. I've taken heroic doses of both of those things. And I can tell you, that the most powerful, the highest dosage MDMA trip with the pharmaceutical grain MDMA only scratches the surface of the biggest LSD experience, barely gets to the door, honestly, even though those MDMA experiences have immense value. Well, I heard about this, people. As we close in on our final 3 articles, we have a couple funny ones at the end. And this is something that yes, people, I live in Portland. I knew about this through word of mouth, but I never went. I never had a desire to. And now it's gone and people are in trouble. So here it is. What am I talking about? Let's find out. This is from OregonLive.com. Headline: Weed, shrooms, LSD, all were on sale at the unofficial Portland Sunday market, feds say. And here is the article. Federal agents and state police found vendors hawking goods much different than the usual craft fair wares when they raided a rural property just outside Gresham's city limits dubbed the Portland Sunday Market. They discovered people selling ecstasy, cocaine, marijuana, and mushrooms, according to federal prosecutors. Investigators arrested convicted felon Kevin Jared Olson, the 46-year-old owner of the property, on federal drug and gun allegations. In addition to the site of the alleged market, a search of Olson's home in Boring revealed a cache of guns, according to a federal affidavit. Olson told officers he rented the property to vendors, but he wasn't allowed in because the market was private, according to the affidavit. But Homeland Security investigation agents said they had seen Olson enter the property on multiple occasions while the market was operating, the affidavit said. The investigation began early last year when tips came in about an event called Portland Sunday Market that agents learned had moved from southeast Portland to the rural spot in unincorporated Multnomah County. Instead of handicrafts, people gathered to sell drugs, including ecstasy, ketamine, LSD, marijuana, and psilocybin mushrooms, to customers in a farmer's market style setup, according to Assistant U.S. Attorney Scott Caron. Investigators obtained warrants to search the property located at the dead end of a gravel road in the 27,000 block of Southeast Jeanette Street. Beyond the no trespassing signs and fencing, agents reported finding vendors had set up tables inside a spacious warehouse to sell drugs, with signs propped up outside that advised visitors not to take any photographs or videos. A second warehouse held an on-site marijuana grow operation with 973 plants. The property is valued at $804,000. Officers seized 523 grams of cocaine, 439 grams of ecstasy, 1,100 doses of LSD, 5 vials of liquid LSD, 473 grams of ketamine, and many pounds of marijuana and mushrooms. Residents along the street where he lived had complained to Multnomah County and the Oregon Liquor and Cannabis Control Commission over the past year because about 100 cars would come down the gravel road every weekend to what was billed as a private event. Wow. So there you go, people. They closed down the Portland drug market. I heard about it when it was in Southeast because it was during COVID when Portland police were not enforcing anything. They wouldn't even investigate murders. I mean, it was insane. So these people felt like they were in a lawless environment. Perhaps they felt like the world was ending, but guess what? As we started the show with, it's 5 years after COVID. We're back pretty much into this matrix-like functioning system as it was before in a way, but totally different. So there wasn't room for this to exist anymore. The law enforcement was back. They should have known better. And once they pissed off the neighbors once, that's kind of like a big red flag to maybe not have cocaine, ecstasy, and all these things. And by the way, if you're selling cocaine, you're an asshole anyway. Brynn, did you hear about this market? Did you have your Vital Force Herbs booth there? Those, you get some coke, get some ketamine, you get some herbal blends.
Yeah, no, I believe I heard mention of its existence and more in town. So yeah, it must have been maybe the previous one and during COVID. But no, I didn't. I was envisioning it as you were describing the sort of farmer's market style of little booths and their signs. I mean, what were these businesses called? I'm imagining dead end road with the 100 cars coming down. That sounds like that wouldn't last very long.
Well, it seems like if you set something like that up, you'd want to be extremely discreet. If you piss off the neighbors pretty much once or twice, you should just shut the damn thing down because you know the cops are coming.
Right. And then you probably shouldn't have like a marijuana grow and a bunch of guns on the same property as well.
Well,
so,
point is, he allowed cocaine to happen. The dark energy, cocaine is black magic, people, in its easiest translatable term. Blood, money, it's a blood product. It's black magic. This guy brought it on himself by allowing that energy in. What if it was just the other things? Perhaps there would have been some layer of protection, but no, he had guns and coke. Adios, muchacho. Okay, here are the last two articles. You've hung with this long. It's been a wild episode. This is from UPI.com. Headline: World's first sperm race to be held in Los Angeles. Yes, people, this is real. And here's the article. An unusual startup announced the world's first sperm race. A race involving actual sperm will be held April 25th at the Hollywood Palladium in Los Angeles. Sperm Racing, a startup founded by a team of young millionaires, announced representatives from two competing schools, the University of Southern California and the University of California, Los Angeles, will provide the microscopic swimmers for the inaugural sperm race. The race will take place under a microscopic camera that will track the progress of the sperm as they attempt to cross the finish line. The startup said there will be 3 races held to determine the overall winner, and play-by-play commentary will be provided during each heat. There will also be instant replays, leaderboards, and betting through approved partners. Quote, sperm racing isn't just about racing sperm. It's about turning health into a competition. It's about making male fertility something people actually want to talk about, track, and improve. Zoo wrote, health is a race, and everyone deserves a shot at the starting line. So there you go, people.
There you go. Actually, I did read an article just a couple days ago that male fertility was down 50% from the 1970s.
It's true. But you know what? We're going to get that sperm back. We're going to get him in shape. We're going to be back in the race. We're going to get those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. We're going to boost those numbers. And let me tell you something. We all started as winners. We were all that sperm winning that race. So if we can do it, they can do it, and we can get that sperm flowing. Right, Brynn?
What were the awards?
Didn't say.
Oh.
Okay, this is our final article. Silly, funny, and strange. This is from EastIdahoNews.com. Headline: Woman called AAA during standoff to fix tire police had just spiked, report says. Hey, AAA, they're just a phone call away. And here is the article. A 45-year-old woman was arrested Wednesday and accused of leading police on a high-speed chase on I-70 and then calling for roadside assistance after officers spiked her tire. Anna Mae Martinez was booked into the Emery County Jail for investigation of reckless driving and failing to stop for police. The odd series of events began at about 5:20 p.m. when Martinez was spotted by a Utah Highway Patrol trooper on I-70 going 120 miles per hour, according to a police booking affidavit. Quote, I reached a speed of 130 miles per hour in an attempt to catch the vehicle. By the time the trooper caught up with the vehicle, Martinez was going 95, but as soon as the trooper got behind her with flashing lights, she accelerated to between 120 and 130, the affidavit states. Yeah, you might as well make him, work for it. Troopers attempted twice to spike the woman's tires, They were successful on the second try near Sigurd, which was nearly 100 miles away from where Martinez was first spotted. About 40 minutes, quote, the vehicle's left front tire lost air and the vehicle pulled to the right side of the road and came to a stop. Traffic was shut down and a high-risk stop was performed with multiple troopers. The driver and sole occupant of the vehicle failed to obey any commands to exit the vehicle or roll down the window. I tried multiple times to get Martinez to roll down a window or exit the vehicle while yelling as loud as I could. A PA speaker was also used, but she refused. About 40 minutes into the ensuing standoff, police say Martinez called AAA to get her tire fixed. The roadside assistance company transferred the call to police, who in turn transferred the call to a trooper at the scene. I was able to talk Martinez into exiting the vehicle. Oh my God. So there you go, people. Earth, April 2025. Sperm races, exoplanets with life, new old news, tech that can manipulate time and space. So many things going on. My God. Brynn, what did you think about this episode?
Wild, weird, and wacky as always. It feels exponential. Like every 7 weeks, the weirdness doubled.
It's getting a little weirder. Like it's like there's like this bandwidth of like, okay, that's kind of really weird, but you can kind of assume it could happen in the statistics and the math behind human behavior. But this math is getting really weird.
Maybe it's all the quantum squeezing they're doing is like manipulating the other layers of humanity.
That's exactly what it is. It's all the quantum things that are happening. The CERN, the Hadron Collider, the experiments, the qubits. All of this is having effects.
Just probably messing with people's sense of reality. And so they're losing grip and doing weird things.
Right, because they're very vested in the material aspect of reality. It's better to move your center into your own consciousness, and then you're tapped into that bigger thing, and then matter can fluctuate and change. You're just you're still there. You're on Earth. Earth could change, the matter could change, everything could look different, all these new things could happen, but you're still okay. And I think that could be, like Brynn's saying, a big indicator of why things are so weird right now. It's so strange, but we're going to a very good place, people. Always remember that, and all the weirdness and all the strangeness and all the things we talk about. Just remember, we're moving forward, but there's going to be a lot of strange mutations, twists, turns, and other things along the way. So, wow, incredible episode, Brynn. Thank you for being here.
Yes, indeed. Always a pleasure and always a wild ride.
Yes, very much so. Thank you for being a sponsor. Again, people, check out her website, vitalforceherbs.com. Discount code midnight, 30% off, free shipping. There's something coming, people. We have this high technology right around the corner that's coming into the public sphere. There's the normalization of life on other planets really starting to sink into the human collective consciousness. We're starting to shift into a galactic awareness, understanding that life is all throughout the universe. It's really interesting to feel the frequency shift in real time. And the more sensitive you are to those energies, the more intense it is. People talk about ascension symptoms. Really, it's just the sensitivity of feeling reality itself change and all the different fluctuations that are happening behind the scenes of reality. It's really interesting time, people. So, okay, well, there it was. Beyond the news. Thank you again for being here, Brynn. That was epic.
Yes, indeed, Jake. Super fun to be here. Appreciate it.
Yes. And everyone else out there, thank you for being here. What a ride. And we will see you next week. Midnight on Earth.